My gosh, if I were to say that this episode was important and impactful for me, I would be shortchanging the episode. Ging's lesson to Gon. I've personally been going through a really hard time, and I don't have a problem saying that. It's, a variety of personal reasons, but it's so awesome how sometimes you just want to hear these words of encouragement or these words of wisdom. And I was watching the episode not expecting that, and all of a sudden you hear Gin say to Gon, the most important thing is that you enjoy the detours in life, because it's those moments and the people that come with them that eventually become more important than whatever it is you're trying to get to. Whether your goal is to get a car or get your own place, find a girlfriend or a boyfriend or get a stable job, whatever the fuck you want, okay? You have to enjoy the obstacles that come before you actually obtain the goal, because if you don't, then you're not a better person once you get to that goal. You won't be happy if you achieve the goal and you haven't valued the lessons that you've learned and the people that you've met to let you get to that point. And that's exactly what Gon is doing as he's climbing up the tree. He's remembering all these things with a smile on his face, just thinking how much better he's off because of what he went through. Thanks to Ging's little story, Gon remembers his friends, and even though they're not technically there, they're still with him. And that leads me to another point that I want to make regarding the spiritual thread or theme that I've been observing in this show ever since the end of the Chimera Ant arc. Ging's second message to Gon, and this is regardless of what you believe, okay, is that there's something bigger and greater than what's in front of our eyes, okay? And maybe what's in front of our eyes is just this little thing, and what's waiting and what's out there is just this fucking thing that we can't even fathom. We can't even logically or reasonably understand. And that's kind of like what Gin tells Gon. Like, this little tree is a midget compared to the flora and fauna out there that's outside of this known world, okay? That humans cling to. So obviously, to me, it's a spiritual reference. It has to be, especially with what we got last week with the koala and the nature of the soul. That aspect is incredibly humbling to me, because it just makes you feel like a little speck of dust in this massive sea of sand, And as humans, we like to make everything about ourselves. This is the way I view the world. This is the way I like my stuff. And if you do not align to my view, well, something must be fucking wrong with you, because I can't be wrong, right? And yet, this episode just makes you think about the fact that maybe we're just a tiny little piece of this enormous puzzle. You see how small that tree was? We're even smaller than the fucking tree. Did you see how small Gon looked when he was climbing up the tree? Like an ant. Speaking of ants, you see Meruem still holding on to Kamugi's hand with the shogi pieces, as if we needed more to be fucking nostalgic and fucking tearful about, It's like, oh god, damn. And then they teased Goto coming back. That's when I said, okay, this episode is just fucking with me. But then it ends with Ging's words. And you know what I love about this is that Gon, even though obviously he would have wanted a father, he would have wanted to be with Gin, he doesn't question the choice or the sort of separation that needs to happen. Because Gin has already said, like, if we ever meet again, Gon, I'll see you around. And, it sucks the same way that he needed to say goodbye to Killua, but you have to do it sometimes. It's part of growing up. I'm really concerned over Kurapika, though. I think it's obvious that he's going through a very, very bad experience. And, just looking at his facial expression, he looks like a completely different person. Out of the main cast, I always assumed that Killua was going to be the character to struggle with his dark side and, to not let the darkness overpower him and lead him on to become like this full-fledged assassin who was completely desensitized. But as it turns out, it's actually, I think that character or that role is going to go to Kurapika, because it's like you see how he's isolating himself. If you're in a situation of pain, the last thing you should try to do is distance yourself from the people that care about you, because that loneliness only fuels more negativity inside of you. Honestly, I thought this episode was going to be a bullshit 20-minute wrap-up of just all the plot points that we had gotten, throughout the show. And I was so wrong. I was not expecting this at all. It blew my mind. Because even though it does feel like a semi-wrap-up, because it recaps the past and lets you value it in the context of this final episode of the anime that we have, it also opens up the door. You know, it's like Gin just opened up Gon's eyes to so many other adventures that are to come. And so it's really rare to find I mean, fucking an anime episode that does that. It's like, I mean, you have to leave it open, but at the same time, you have to close up. Beautiful. You know, this is one of the best fucking shonens I've ever seen. Period. Like, period. And the things that make, at least for me, the thing that makes it one of the best shonens is the way that it explores themes of the human condition. Like Togashi said, okay, you want to get some action out of this? That's fine. You can have your action. You know, you can have, you know, your entertainment, but I also want to talk about the stuff that really matters. Not just to the characters, but to all of us. And it's just, I mean, he knocked it out of the park. That's one of the biggest powers that I think anime has, is that you relate to what's on your screen through your values and experiences. And then you learn something from that. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, liking all of my Hunter x Hunter 2011 reviews that I've done. I really appreciate it. These videos wouldn't be anything if it weren't for you guys, so thank you for that. I know some of you have been asking me if I'm going to catch up on the manga after this. To be honest, I think I need some time, you know, because this was just an amazing, a very special experience for me. Even though it's the continuation of the story, I feel like I need time to cherish this anime for what it was, you know, which is an incredible production, both animation-wise, storytelling-wise, and, you know, all of the above. The music was amazing in this too. It just helps bring up so much emotion from the viewer, you know, because, you know, you perceive the music and you associate it to something, and it just makes you feel a lot more. So I value all of that. Thank you. Bye.